Beautiful weather, tons of high-paying jobs, amazing diverse restaurant, fantastic global people, great inexpensive golfing all year round, great outdoor activities. These are some of the things you might be excited about when thinking about making the move to Silicon Valley. But what if there were some scary realities that you didn't expect? Imagine moving to Silicon Valley only to discover that some parts make your dream an inconvenient nightmare. As a Bay Area native, there are so many amazing things about living here. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about all the ugly parts. So before you pack up and make the move, let's talk about the reasons why people regret making the move to Silicon Valley, or even regret being here. If you're new here, my name is Spencer Su. I make videos about living in Silicon Valley, and I've been here my entire life. I'm also a real estate agent that's helping people every single week with their moves here, but it's not all glamorous. And of course, we gotta talk about what everybody talks about around the world, which is the housing cost. Now, we're talking about Silicon Valley, so it's not an entire Bay Area, but depending on how you measure it, it's plus or minus 2 million people, with about 1 million people in San Jose alone. Now, people come from all over the world to work at these amazing companies. Think about companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta, Nvidia, AMD, Cisco, Tesla, Apple, Amazon, Intuit. There's a combined market cap, by the way, of those companies, $21.3 trillion. Now you add industries like healthcare with so many large hospital chains like Stanford, Kaiser, Palo Alto Medical. The physicians and nurses make a lot of money here too. Now, fortunately in the area, a lot of the money and people buying homes is much less international foreign money like you see from like Vancouver, Toronto, or like in London. And it's even less money from institutions that are buying droves of places like BlackRock. But what's the catch? It's not like everyone works at those companies and aren't engineers and managers. This makes owning a home for many people difficult. While people resort to renting, that's not the easiest either. People make good money, including those individuals that just move here. They value proximity to work, and so rents are also higher. It is a hard place to get started without some sacrifice or assistance from previous savings or family. To be able to afford a place, people may choose to move a little bit further out, which we'll talk about commute later on. Next is about raising a family. Childcare or tuition can be very expensive here. While the public schools in general are good, many of the private schools can cost more than $40–50K a year to attend. What if you wanted a night nanny or a full-time sitter? Even a full-time sitter may cost plus or minus $80,000 a year. Now, while it is a lot of money, you may have to ask yourself the question, if the sitter is spending their entire week helping you at getting paid $80,000 a year, where are they living themselves? So as you can see, because of how much things cost to be here, everything will be a lot more expensive when it comes to the service types of industries. Now, as I mentioned, the Silicon Valley is big. This is a channel about Silicon Valley. I have my other channel, which is about the Bay Area. For Silicon Valley, it's a very small, that's a U-shaped location. And people will be coming from further out to have more affordability options to rent and to own. But let's talk about traffic patterns then. While traffic in most places outside rush hour doesn't exist, so traffic really exists during rush hour. Because outside of that, it actually doesn't exist. So think about just driving around on the weekends. It's actually quite pleasant. There's not a lot of cars out. But because all the jobs are centered in one specific region, which is in Silicon Valley and San Francisco, the rush hour times can be pretty intense, especially Tuesday through Thursdays, which are usually the worst. Now, you can easily determine this if you plot this on Google Maps. Feel free to calculate when you may be expected to travel, and then it's usually going to be plus or minus 2 or 3 times worse than if there was no traffic. Now, you can overcome that by trying to drive outside those hours or making arrangements to come later in the morning or leave later in the evening, but you have to be mindful that the traffic is going to be pretty bad, but it's also in specific directions. So if you can find a way to work remotely or reverse traffic somehow, those will be amazing lifestyle choices. Now let's talk about next about taxes, right? We are in California after all. Now, this isn't just a pure Silicon Valley thing, but it's going to impact you because you're in the state of California. Silicon Valley doesn't have actually any extra taxes per se. Now, California itself has some of the highest taxes in the country. And unfortunately, you're not going to actually see a whole lot of things that come out of all that tax collections. Now, for those that are married, filing jointly and making over $1.442 million, there's a 12.3% tax, plus a 1% tax for those making over $1 million. And then you got a payroll tax of 1.1%. This brings in a total of about 14.63% to the highest of earners here. Keep this in mind that this is a progressive tax. Now, what if you own a home? Whatever you bought it for, you're going to be paying 1.25% of that. The slight benefit of what we have here is due to Prop 13, the maximum that can increase is 2% a year. That's why you have a lot of people that have owned homes forever and have zero desire to sell it because, one, they have their home probably paid off, the home costs very little, and the property taxes is also very, very little. Right? I mean, think about your baseline being that amount, while average property prices have risen about 6 to 8% a year on average. So you can see it's an exponential growth versus other places. Now, in other places, like if you think about Texas, where a lot of people have moved from, They reassess your property tax every year of whatever the government thinks your property is worth. That is a complete disaster, and it is absolutely crazy because obviously it's the government's incentive to try to tax you for as much as possible. At least in California, it is controlled at how much it can increase a year. And if you think about it though, the governments are earning so much income, yet you probably don't see too much happening in most cities, and there's so much money being put to waste on both the state and local level. Remember all those billions of dollars that are raised from sales tax and just overall tax collection towards homelessness? Where is that money? Because when you have more money for a problem, if you think about it, you actually want more of that problem to keep going on, so more money gets fed to it. So it's a very challenging thing where we all have empathy for those that are struggling, but I think a lot of us can probably agree we don't have that much empathy for those that don't want to actually change their life and get better. And then you look at the mental health tax that there was in place. Do you actually believe things are better than before? If you don't, as we all do with our professional lives, we want more accountability. But of course, who would want to reveal things that way? This is why you have to be very careful. You make your own opinions when it comes to voting, but anytime people want tax increases, I wish there's a way first that they gotta audit everything and first fix all that bloat, waste, and corruption than just simply jacking up sales tax for everyone else to keep paying for. That's my personal take on it, because you can just see taxes just keep rising, but you get less and less. Now, let's talk about the other side of it. Most of people understand the Bay Area as a place that has a lot more male than female. Now, I've been lucky because I've been together with my wife for now 15 years. But I hear both sides complain about this on the other side. Given the ratios of gender for these tech roles, it does heavily skew males. While the census shows it's actually not that imbalanced, for these high-paying engineering roles, it's not uncommon to have at least a 2-to-1 guy-to-girl ratio. Guys complain that they can't find girls, calling it man Jose, or complaining that females think they are a 9 out of a 10 rating, but are really less than a 6 in most places. Now, what about females on the other hand? Can't really blame them either. They tell me that the odds are good, but the goods are odd. Many guys are incredibly socially awkward, as in they can barely hold a conversation. Trust me, ladies, I know as I interact with a lot of these people too, and I cannot blame you at all. I hear it all the time that ladies complain that regardless of how old they are very immature, and I can't really fully fault that. But the key about that is get yourself out there. There are so many cool communities of people getting together. Go do sports like pickleball, go do rock climbing, right? Go to social gatherings, go to your office and meet new people. It may not be the coworker, but it could be their friend. Be more active and you will for sure find somebody that will work really, really well for you. I can guarantee that. Now, the truth is, for all of these, outside the taxes side, there are ways to solve all of them, but rarely do things come easy. There is no place in the world that doesn't have downsides to their city, because the reality is if everything is too cheap in an area, there's a reason. Maybe the local economy is probably doing really poorly and one will be stuck in that place forever. I wanted to keep it real with you about what it's like to live in Silicon Valley. However, if you watch this video and you're thinking, hey look, I can handle all of that and I'm still interested in making Silicon Valley my home, well go ahead and give me a call, because I would love to be the one to help you in your process of moving here to Silicon Valley and ultimately buying a place or doing a trade-up of the area. Because as I mentioned, I live here, I travel the world, but I always have this place as my home base and I love it here so much. So I would love to help you in your move to Silicon Valley as well. I'm going to be putting my contact details below. Do not hesitate to reach out, as it's going to be me that you talk to when you call me, and I am never too busy to help people just like you making Silicon Valley the home base. So whether that's 3 weeks, 3 months, or 3 years, let's connect, let's work together. See you next time.